Hey, thanks for joining me. This is it. This is the end of Erik Larsen's original run at Marvel Comics. He took over Spider-Man from McFarlane and got to do this awesome six-part Revenge of the Sinister Six. Been really enjoyable. I had some problems with the story in the last issue I was talking about, where the seriousness is being kind of underplayed in a way that I don't think works. It's like trying to be too lighthearted, but also have these unbelievably dramatic stakes that are very serious. I don't know. We'll see how this wraps up. Triple gatefold cover. What a great piece of artwork. This would be so fun to own the original to these. I wonder if Larsen has these or if he sold them off. So Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Deathlock, and you got the Fantastic Four. They haven't been in this fucking book. Torch, Sue Storm, Thing, there's Reed, there's Hulk, there's Solo, the stupid asshole that swims in shit. Nova, and then you got the Sinister Six over here. That's pretty awesome. Isn't this the image of Spider-Man that they used in that first Spider-Verse movie for like 1 second right at the beginning? It's like, there. I remember going, that's an Erik Larsen Spider-Man. Fuck, good for him. That's awesome. Great cover, or, triple gatefold cover. Good stuff. But we know where it ended up last time. Spider-Man with a couple heroes, Ghost Rider, Hulk, Sleepwalker, were fighting the Sinister Six, but then all the others got disappeared or defeated, so it's just Spider-Man by himself, as, of course, is always the way it goes. So Spider-Man's got to save the day. We get another splash page. I think all the issues have had a splash page first page and no backgrounds on any of them. And I'm not complaining. I don't care. It's just an interesting choice that he makes. I like it. A splash page, and then often it says splash page, double splash page. There you go. Did that happen in this one? No, it doesn't need to. But it's a classic kind of, I think, a thing that Jack Kirby popularized, splash page, double splash page. Fun way to get people into comics. Oh my God, Encino, man. I love that movie. Fucking Brendan Fraser was hilarious. And I love Pauly Shore. Fight me, I don't care. So yeah, Spider-Man's like, all right, well, I'm going to punch. You punch an old man in the fucking face, he should be done. You kick Electro in the fucking face, he should be out. Like, these guys aren't invulnerable. Anyway, whatever. That is, it's pretty attention-getting. I think the problem is this giant monster, this Gog. It says, Gog was an infant when Spider-Man first ran into him years ago in the Savage Land. Now he's changed. Kraven was controlling him then, while Spider-Man and Kazar fought together to spoil his plans. The last time Spider-Man saw him, Gog was in a pool of quicksand being dragged under an asterisk. So the asterisk, 4 different comic series that were going on that are all listed in here. I like that Erik Larsen's like, I know where these characters come from, and I'm going to bring them back. And they were all in these different issues of comics. So somehow this creature, he's been scaled up. He's a big giant monster. Compositionally, I don't know, something about this, and I think it's just because of the dominating Gog character and the color of him just overpowers everything. It doesn't ruin it by any means, but something just kind of doesn't work as well. I like this shot of Spider-Man with the heavy lighting on him. So he's like, all right, well, I got to take off. And you got the Sinister Six down here being some badasses, a bunch of dead corpses of Hydra. And like, these are dead human beings down here. But we don't care because they're Hydra agents and they're pointless, nameless characters, right? Over here, you got Hulk and Ghost Rider unconscious. Ghost Rider is unconscious. He's a demon monster from hell with a flaming skull. He should never be knocked unconscious. Oh my God. But they got to have him out. He's just like another guy. Anyway, thanks, Tom. We're on the scene. We got to blah, blah, blah. All these horrible things are happening. So what this is the news report's saying this horrible shit's happening, and even though we don't get to see who it is, if you pay attention to the dialogue, you can kind of piece it together of who's watching and their reaction to it. When you see the text, what a revolting development this is, okay, we know who that is. When we see a gun and a guy saying the forces of evil have gathered, there shall be no escape from my wrath this time. All right, that's Solo. And then you got this guy who's sitting there and he's like, oh my God, this thing's going on. And so he's like, yikes, it's an all-out battle with the Sinister Six and I'm missing the whole thing. So I like how he's sitting here on the, like, sitting in a chair with his feet up, and then he's like jumping into action. Who could this be? Well, I mean, if we're paying attention, I'm pretty sure it's Nova, because Erik Larsen's got a big old hard-on for Nova. Back with Mary Jane. Erik's doing some really kind of experimental shit with his art. Weird, chunky inking, and then a screen tone in the middle of it, and then leaving the jacket white. I don't hate it. It kind of looks interesting. I kind of dig it. It's just, it stands out very well. You flip this page, I'm like, that really, like, that's something. But she's going to go do her final audition for the casting couch for the Schwarzenegger movie. She's going to grab onto his Terminator and get the role. Back with Spider-Man, jumping around, shooting webs, grabbing onto flying robots to drag them into the firing path of Hobgoblin, who's insane over here. Gog smashes down on the ground as Spider-Man's trying to get away, and he's struggling. Giant laser blast explodes behind him. I like this shot. All these bad guys are just unloading on him. So Octopus is down here looking awesome. His arms are holding up these guns. All these robotic minions are shooting like action and chaos. It's awesome. Somehow, stupid Vulture's still alive. And not that he shouldn't be alive, but he should be unconscious. I mean, Spider-Man punched him in the fucking face. He says, things are looking pretty grim for you, punk. And so Spider-Man says, on the contrary, I'd say things look pretty grim for you. Oh my God, what could it be? Oh my God, please tell me. Fuck yeah, Fantastic Four, classic. They're like, the Fantastic Four received your call, Spider-Man, and we're here to save the day. So, in other words, it's clobbering time. Classic. You know, I just have to imagine, guessing here, that Erik Larsen's like, this is probably going to be the last Marvel thing I ever do. I want everything in here that I love. I want the fucking Fantastic Four. And why not? Oh, and Nova, he shows up. Down, super uppercut punch, make way for the man called Nova. And then Solo shows up, doing his best, like Rob Liefeld, like costume design, just covered in pouches. Like, this has to be Larsen, not shitting on Liefeld. I think they were homies, at least at that point, for sure. But it's got to be making fun of that design aesthetic, like, right? Like, there's just random shapes on his back and pouches everywhere. I don't hate it. It's ridiculous. Solo sucks, but, you know, it's kind of visually cool. But yeah, he's there. Solo is here, and while Solo lives, terror dies, and Rob pukes at that dialogue. Mysterio, he's going to do some of that Mysterio shit. He's like, these guys are so stupid. He's like, they don't understand about my power. So Erik Larsen does this awesome thing where he shows heroes punching or kicking or fighting some other villain, and you see part of the villain's body. But in the panel next to it, you can see that it's actually another hero. The Thing is punching Octopus, so he thinks, but he's actually socking Reed Richards because Mysterio's projecting holograms or whatever the fuck it is that he can do to, you know, put up these images to make people see things that actually aren't there. So Spider-Man's kicking Torch. You think he'd feel the fire, but of course he's kicking Electro, so maybe that's what he thinks it is. Sue Storm, she's like zapping Nova. He's like, what the hell? What did I do? The confusion keeps going. Suddenly Ghost Rider's motorcycle rockets into view, and then he's on it. He's like, all right, forward, Hulk. The robots restrain us no longer. Now vengeance shall be mine. And Hulk's like, you and me both, pal. Good shot, good action and movement. Hulk's looking pretty awesome there. Shades of green on him are kind of weird. I guess they're trying to like do the lighting of the fire cast on his body, and there's all kinds of weird shades of green. Looks kind of weird. But then something really weird here happens. And I feel like this is Erik Larsen being kind of a goofball. This is all just like exciting, fun, superheroic comics. Like, it's not serious. Okay. But what happens is the spirit from hell, this demon monster who shouldn't ever be knocked out or unconscious or whatever, he charges into battle to somewhere, and Spider-Man says, "Oh no," and then just Ghost Rider's head, his flaming skull, just bounces across the floor. Like, what? Who the fuck did that? How did he lose his head? Does that kill him? Has Ghost Rider ever lost his head before? Hulk and Thing are going at it because, again, Mysterio is still weaving his images. And it's a believable character trait. That's what he can do, and that's what he should do. Spider-Man's crouched over here like, they're dead. They're all dead. Octopus is like, "You've had enough fun, Mysterio. I tire of their whining. Try and gather them together so Gog can put them out of our misery for real." So I am really at a loss with this Ghost Rider thing. It's funny, but it's weird. It's funny, but it's weird. Oh, but out of the blue, Mysterio gets his head bowl shattered. Boom, Deathlock. He's finally back on his feet. He's like, "I didn't kill him, did I?" He's, the brain is talking to the computer. The computer's like, "No, he's knocked unconscious." But, so Octopus is like, "Well, whatever, you fools. We've still got the power. Boys, kill them." And so we get this shot of Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, Ghost Rider, Nova, Hulk. And they're like, try it. I mean, any villains against this group of heroes is done for. No one can stand up against these guys. But there is a giant, like, Godzilla monster up here who slams down. They're like, "Oh, shit, I guess we got to fight this thing." So, again, the insane action keeps going. Erik Larsen gives us a great shot of Spider-Man. Again, I love how I like how Erik Larsen likes to draw Spider-Man with this extreme lighting on parts of his body, this highlight. That's really cool looking. But, yeah, Spider-Man's having some words with Hobgoblin because we got to eat up some more pages. But now the heroes, now that Mysterio's not fucking with their brains, they're doing pretty good. Nova's doing good. Hulk's doing good. Ghost Rider is punching the shit out of Electro. And then out of the blue, Solo finds a giant tube, some giant gun. Okay. And then he, like, shoots upward and catches Gog in a burning energy of Kirby Crackle, which looks really fucking cool. Spider-Man's like, "Stop, you'll kill him." I mean, do we care? You fucking care about this giant monster that will eat people? Meanwhile, you let the Sinister Six run around and slaughter innocents while you were sitting around in bed talking to your wife about showing her tits in a movie? Like, I'm overthinking it, I know. Speaking of overthinking, so he blasts the monster because they're in a building and there's a hole in the roof of the building, and that's where Gog is at. He's outside. So then I guess he falls aside. Maybe they're underground is what it is. Either way, you get the point. Gog falls aside. And I was watching this. I'm like, or reading this. I'm like, what the fuck just... He shoots up into the sky and something explodes. I'm like, what the fuck exploded in the sky? I had to think about it. I'm like, oh, right. Like 2 issues ago, Erik Larsen introduced the concept and showed for 2 panels that they had a giant spaceship that they found in another dimension or something and were flying it around and getting beamed up into it. And so I guess Solo, with this tube bazooka thing that stuns Gog but blows up the giant ship, which Erik Larsen completely forgot to ever address until it gets exploded here. So I'm like, all right, I gotta be honest, in terms of storytelling, this is all pretty fucking bad. It doesn't matter. Like, again, I'm probably being a little overdramatic little bitch about it, but if you're not paying attention, you're like, what did they just shoot? What is the point of introducing this massive spaceship that they have that is there for 2 panels to just get blown up here? Just leave it out. It doesn't affect anything. The art looks great, as usual. It's just a random, like, I guess he's like, I gotta wrap up all these things. Oh yeah, I had a spaceship. Oh, I guess he shoots the monster, then monster falls over, and then he blows up the spaceship in the sky. Oh, all right. If you say so. Spider-Man's punching at I think Solo, but he disappears. I guess that's what's going on there. Deathlock is shooting the guns out of Vulture's hands because he can legitimately target that accurately with his cybernetic abilities. That's cool. Ghost Rider's still punching the shit out of Hobgoblin. Ghost Rider would just rip his head off. That's what he should do. I guess Ghost Rider put his head back on. Remember when he was bouncing around over here? Well, I guess he's put back together. Great, good for him. And then this scene, again, it's lighthearted fun. I get it. Octopus is like, nobody move, I'll blow up the planet, I swear. He's got the ability to blow up the planet somehow. They probably established that earlier and I wasn't paying attention. But he's got his finger on the button. And Reed Richards is like, no, you won't. He literally just unplugged his machine. He's like sitting there spinning the power cord. No, you won't. That is completely stupid way to undo this threat. But it's also funny. It's lighthearted. It's not meant to be taken seriously, as I'm sitting here trying to like tell you it needs to be serious. So he just unplugged it. Okay, that's funny. And then Hulk grabs Octopus's arms while he's not paying attention, spins him around. Vulture and Hobgoblin are like, fuck, we got to get out of here. Let's bolt. Ghost Rider and Human Torch are taking out more of the mindless minion robots. Electro, he gets knocked out by Spider-Man because Sue Storm was making him invisible so Spider-Man could walk up in front of him and punch him in the fucking face. Now he's knocked out. Why was he not knocked out on page 1 here? Spider-Man, hit harder, please. And all that's left is Octopus. So he's back here flailing his arms around. We've established adamantium arms, super power source, so he's hard to defeat. I think Reed Richards would show up, and with his technological knowledge, he would just fucking just have a device. He just pushes a button and Octopus is down. Like, he could do that to anybody. He's so smart. But they're like, all right, we got to take him out. But then a voice from behind says, no, like, we got to get him. What do we do? But a voice from behind them says, no. And it's, oh, shit, it's Sandman. He got turned into glass, but then shattered. Well, if he can reform his sand body, apparently he can reform his glass body. So he shows up. Octopus is like, fuck you. And Sandman just fires glass shards at Octopus, knocking him down, not killing him. And Spider-Man's like, you could have killed him. He's like, yeah, he deserves worse for what he's done. So I'm like, I don't know that it addresses anywhere what happened to Sandman being glass. How does he get turned back to sand? Obviously, somebody's got to address that somewhere. They probably actually say it right here. Let's see. Because with Reed Richards, this guy's brilliance and his technology, he can do anything. It's dumb to have him show up into a scene and start punching people when he could just show up and have some device that just knocks everyone unconscious or teleports the bad guys into jail or space or the bottom of the ocean or something. But no, he has to show up and starts punching things. So, you know, Hulk's taken off. He's like, I'll see you guys next crisis. And Ghost Rider's taken off. I go too, satisfied that justice has been served. So Gog is still just knocked unconscious. So Spider-Man's talking. He's like, it's finally over. Doc Ock's going to the hospital. Electro and Mysterio are going to jail. Too many Hydra members, innocent civilians, police officers, and S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are going to the morgue. Yeah, they're dead, Spider-Man, you fucking asshole. He says, I don't feel much like celebrating under the circumstances. What do we do about Gog? So it's like he's having Spider-Man feel bad about all the horrible things that happened when his actions didn't reflect that he gave a shit. But what are we going to do about Gog? So Reed Richards like, leave that to me. I've spent years exploring other dimensions. I believe I can find a way to send him back from where he came from. I'll have to shrink him down to a more manageable size first, but that's fairly simple. And Spider-Man's like, I guess that's why they call you Mr. Fantastic. Oh, and then, Jesus, he's just Sandman again. Sorry, how did I miss that? He's just Sandman. Who fixed him? Fuck it. Jesus Christ. This reeks of Erik Larsen's like, I'm done. I got Savage Dragon comics to go make. Let's wrap it up. Sandman's just fixed. Spider-Man gives him a little speech about, hey, you almost killed a guy. That doesn't sit well with me. If you're trying to be a good guy, you got to do better, you little fucking asshole. Hey, meanwhile, how many people's died because you, Spider-Man? Fuck your moral kind of lectures. Well, anyway, back with Peter and Mary Jane. And yeah, he says Solo teleported away. Oh, I used the gun that Ock invented to turn Sandman back to normal. Convenient. Plot convenience equals comic suck. Just I found the gun, I shot him back, and so now he's back to sand. Reed Richards sent Gog home. Ock is in the hospital. It turns out some components from Ock's original arms made the new ones obey his mental commands. Now that it's been removed, Ock's out of business. Because without his mechanical arms, he'll have one heck of a time trying to break out of jail. And guess what? He just shows up in an issue of Hulk in his spandex outfit with his arms, no explanation. When Solo destroyed their ship, Solo destroyed their ship when he was trying to kill Gog. So, all right. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. By the way, Peter's like, hey, Mary Jane, I'm rambling on here and you're not paying attention to me at all. She's like, I know, I'm not doing the movie. It's all about me. He's like, what? She's like, because of you, because of me, because of them. And she basically explains, like, the directors of the Schwarzenegger movie only wanted her because she's got a rockin' hot set of tits. And she's like, I'm more than just a hunk of meat. I'm more than just a set of hot rockin' tits. I can wait for better roles. I don't need to do the one where all they want to see are my rockin' hot tits. And he's like, I love you, Mary Jane. You're so great. Oh, by the way, they go home and Mary Jane put together a surprise birthday party. And he's like, you are the best actress I know. You had me fooled. And it's kind of a fun, lighthearted ending. These are a bunch of characters from the books that I barely know. Like, you got J. Jonah Jameson, Aunt May, this guy Robbie. That's probably Black Cat, I'm guessing. I think that's the girl that's like an anorexic chick that was puking her guts out in way early issues of Spider-Man. Anyway, it ends on a happy note. Spider-Man's birthday, Peter's birthday. Oh, that's cute. And Mary Jane loves him, and he's gonna get to see her rockin' hot tits later on that night, hopefully. Anyway, so pretty damn fantastic. Erik Larsen, thank you, sir, for making a pretty fun, exciting Spider-Man comic on your way out from Marvel before you go and do Savage Dragon. Outside of the story beats that I was being a little bit overly dramatic on, but I still think I'm kind of right. Like, the way that Spider-Man just was like hanging out and chilling out, not doing anything and not feeling a sense of urgency. And then at the end, he's like, oh my God, this is so horrible. Like, besides that, pretty fun. All these characters is some of the best art Erik Larsen's ever done. In fact, I'd even suggest this might be the best work he's ever done in terms of art. And that's coming from a guy that says that Savage Dragon is arguably my favorite comic book of all time. Just looking at these again, Erik Larsen just knocked it out of the park. It feels like this is a guy that loves comics and he loves making these things, and his heart and soul is all over the pages. And just Spider-Man comics don't look like this anymore. Like, there's no artists out there at Marvel or DC that I'm aware of that have a weird style like this. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm going to rag on the comic industry for a minute. The people of this era, of the 90s, McFarlane, like, weird anatomy, but great design sense, hyper-detailed, exciting, powerful, visually, like, it grabs your attention. It's so weird, and he looked like no one before him. Erik Larsen, I could say the exact same thing. He's like a love child between Jack Kirby and Walt Simonson, made into his own unique way here. Rob Liefeld, for all the weird shit that he would do in his art in this era, it made you look at it. Is there anybody drawing comic books in like X-Men's and Spider-Man's and Fantastic Fours that have a weird, exciting, distinct, crazy style? Because everything that I see feels like this pretentious, hyper-realistic, perfect, flawless anatomy, infinitely perfect background details that are done in Clip Studio, and they're just doing all this technological stuff with computer assistance, as opposed to guys just drawing by hand, making visually exciting, fun comics. Like Walt Simonson, like Jack Kirby, like John Buscema of old, and all the modern guys, and the Silvestris and the Jim Lees. Like, what is going on? Am I just an old cantankerous fuck that just can't find joy in anything new because I sit here screaming at the universe, nothing's as good as it used to be. Like, I want to see fun shit. And there's some stuff out there, but it's like independent books or random one-offs. But I like Marvel Comics, and I like Marvel comic characters, and I want them to be fun. And they need to find some weird, exciting artists. We need a new influx of crazy, fresh talent that do wild, weird shit. This is what Erik Larsen was, and all his buddies that went off to go do Image Comics, and I'll stand by that. They, you know, for what you may or may not like about them, God, did they have the pulse of the nation, of the youth, and the what everyone was excited to see at the time. So anyway, good times with Spider-Man Revenge of the Sinister Six. Thank you, Erik Larsen, for putting this shit together. It's brilliant. It's fun. It's good times. And I had a lot of fun reviewing these books. So that's all I've got for now. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it so much. I'll see you next time.